Good evening, citizens and guests. At this time, I would like to invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Following the pledge, Father McCreary will say the prayer for us this evening, and if you would remain standing for that, we appreciate it, and thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Loving God, we come before you this evening asking your blessing upon our municipality, upon all who work for us and labor for us, upon all of the members of West Milton, and especially this evening upon the council for your guidance and wisdom that we make the right decisions in accordance with your will. Help us also to think of those things that go beyond our own small town and area, that we may realize there are those who are suffering around the world, those who are in danger because of violence or war, especially the people of Korea and the people of Afghanistan, and especially our troops serving men and women of the armed services. We ask your protective care to be with them. In all things, God, help us ever to be grateful for what you have given us. We make this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. At this time, our meeting is now in order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Cook?
Here.
Francis?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Tinnerman?
Here.
Fogel?
Here.
Ashley?
Here.
And Willis?
Here.
Thank you. The certificate of the clerk has been received, and all the requirements to notice and notification have been met for this evening. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to excuse and be absent at the workshop. To excuse Debbie Miller from being her absence at the workshop.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Abstain.
Tinnerman?
Yes.
Fogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Willis?
Yes.
And Mayor Cope?
Yes. Thank you. Council should have received their minutes for the March council meeting. And at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt these minutes as written or to make changes. Mr. Fogel?
When I reviewed the minutes and for both the council meeting and the workshop, I found a few clarifications I thought that we maybe should address here at council for both the council meeting minutes and the workshop. If it's okay, I sent an email ahead of time to all the council members, the mayor, vice mayor, and the city manager, just to take a look at what I had provided as far as comments and suggestions for some changes. So if I can, I'll just read directly from what I sent via email, if everybody's okay with that.
Don't do that to me.
Yes, sir.
Don't, you're going to embarrass me to death.
Sure.
That makes me look very incompetent.
That's what I'm going to say a motion to. Okay. What's that?
Mr. Sell, could we adopt them per the suggestion that was emailed? Does it need
And not
be
have to
read?
read them?
No, I think you need to read it. You're amending the minutes, I think you need to read the minute. Read the amendment. So even though everybody has it in front of them, the people in the audience don't know what it is, so I think you need to read the amendment. And I think you need to do, I think some of them, one of them's for the regular minutes, and most of them
Right,
are for the
and I
workshop.
have it broke out that way,
Right.
yes, sir.
You need to move to amend the minutes.
Okay.
So, has anybody moved to
We move to adopt the minutes
somebody-
for the council meeting.
make a motion and it was seconded?
I would like to make a motion to revise or clarify.
Let's move
the minute.
to adopt the minutes first, then we
Okay.
can amend them.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
that sounds good.
I'll make a motion to adopt the
Thank you.
council meeting minutes.
Second.
And then there, if you want to make a motion to amend it, you need to read the motion you would like to make to amend the minutes.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. Okay, I would like to make a motion to clarify, revise some of the language in the council meeting minutes for March the 12th, as I'll go ahead and read. I reviewed the meeting council minutes on 12 March and found an issue with the language on the last page, item 6, in reference to Miami Lanes. I feel the 6th sentence should read, Scott Fogel stated Mr. Arnold is asking for $18,000 in donations via the Miami Lanes Facebook page to assist with needed repairs, etc., to open by 1 June, and leave it at that. And that would clarify a portion of that paragraph. And then I also, I guess we would need to go ahead and have a motion to adopt that change.
You need to have a motion. You've made the motion, somebody needs to second that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion regarding Scott's
Yeah,
changes?
I
to
don't
the-
understand, Scott. It states in here in the minutes that it's going to open June 1st, and they're trying to raise the 18,000. So what's the clarification?
Let me go to my
What's the
minutes.
difference? Those two figures, June 1st, are in the minutes, and so is the 18,000 that he's trying to raise.
It just says that Scott Fogel stated Mr. Arnold needs $18,000 to fix up the lanes. And that's all it said. So that's why I just said that it should clarify that Scott Fogel stated Mr. Arnold is asking for $18,000 in donations via the Miami Lanes Facebook page to assist with the needed repairs, et cetera, to open by 1 June.
It states that he's trying to raise the 18,000 that he's going to open June 1st. Just because it doesn't say Facebook page?
Well, I thought that was a little bit of a clarification in reference to the minutes when I reviewed it, and I just
I
thought
think
that
they're
change
fine.
should be in there. But if everyone else doesn't agree, and we can talk about it.
There's no problem with making small changes to the minutes. I mean, if Scott feels that, I mean, we can all vote on it. And if he feels that's what needs to be added, he has every right to feel that way.
Yes.
And so,
I'm just trying to get his
Right.
understanding. When I
So-
read it, I see everything that he's trying to,
I think, Susan,
State.
it just doesn't say that he's looking for donations. It just says he needs $18,000. And
Right.
there's
but
nothing to
Mr. Fogel
indicate-
explained that with different level of donations. So
Right,
it's
so this
saying,
just clarifies.
Yeah.
He's looking for donations. You can make donations, you know, it's just a clarification point. I
That's
don't
right,
think
that's
it's-
all it was a clarification.
okay, that's your thing.
let's do a roll call and we'll see.
Has there been a second?
Oh,
Yes.
yes, it's been seconded by
I second.
Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
All right, yeah.
Francis.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Tinnerman.
Yes.
Fogel.
Yes.
Ashley.
Yes.
Willis.
No.
And Mayor Cope.
Yes. At this time, council, now do we adopt the regular minutes?
Yes, you adopt
We adopt
them as amended.
yeah. So we already made a motion to adopt those minutes. It's been seconded. Any discussion regarding the rest of the minutes? No. Roll call, please.
Francis.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Tinnerman.
Yes.
Fogel.
Yes.
Ashley.
Yes.
Willis.
Is this to adopt the amended minutes?
We
or-
amended it, now we adopt the entire set of minutes. We amended the
Yes.
minutes, now we adopt the entire set of minutes.
And Mayor Cope.
Yes. Thank you. Motion's been passed.
Okay.
At this time, council has also received their workshop minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt those minutes as written.
So moved. Second.
Second. Is there any discussion regarding those minutes?
I would like to also make a motion. I have 3 additional clarifications, or excuse me, 4 in reference to the workshop minutes as well.
And you're going to make a motion to add these to the existing minutes?
Yes, sir.
Right, or clarify the existing minutes?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Do you want to read those
I
changes?
would. if-
Or do we have
Need
to
a
second it? Oh, sorry. Anybody second it?
I wasn't here. I can't.
We go on about second. Go on with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll go ahead and read what I put in the email so everybody sees exactly what I had said. I also reviewed the minutes for the workshop on 26 March and feel the minutes should clarify and restate some of the discussion. In the fall fling discussion, PJ Wertz said she needed to provide info for the liquor sales by 10 April, and I feel the minutes need to clearly state the time of beer sales in the second paragraph that was agreed to via consensus. And I believe we also need to have a vote at this meeting as well as far as the consensus with the times, because the times were not specifically in the meeting minutes. And that's the other thing I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page with what the times were of the ticket sales and the beer sales, because that wasn't clearly stated. The other area is for the water tower discussion. I feel that the minutes should clearly state Matt's idea was brought forward for discussion, looking for advertising sponsorship funds to offset the cost of repairs and repainting. For the water rate discussion, per my notes, Matt acknowledged that he would set up a meeting with the county or City of Troy to negotiate the rates for additional years left on the current water contract with Miami County and the City of Troy. So I think that that clarification should also be updated into the minutes. And the next one is for general discussion area. I have two comments. At the end of the first paragraph, discussing the National League of Cities video program, the CGI Communications videotaping, it should state business would take out ads for a fee on the West Milton Village webpage. And I feel that the NLC and the CGI should also be mentioned in the paragraph to clarify that discussion, because nothing was really mentioned in that paragraph that clarified what we were discussing as far as the organization with the National League of Cities and the CGI Communications who would do the videotaping. And then finally, in the general discussion area, I feel the various groups should be spelled out, the Milton Union School Board and the Union Township trustees, and also revise to state that we are working as a group to raise funds for building a new entrance to Memorial Stadium and a new park area at the old middle school and elementary school, a splash pad / skate ramp, and to clarify that. So those are my 5 comments in reference to the workshop minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Fogel.
Thank you.
Laura?
Did we discuss the, okay, for the entrance to the stadium, was that discussed? I don't remember. I don't think it was. I don't think that would be involved in this, would it?
But that is part of what the funds are being used to, would be raised to offset is the cost of that entrance and the splash pad and the skate ramp.
So now this entrance is only going to be for the park, nothing to do with the school, right?
No, it would be with the school because we were working together as a group.
So this is not covered by the school issues then? Is that what
I
you're
think
saying,
what
Scott?
Cora's concern is that wasn't specifically discussed at the workshop,
No, it was
broken
not.
out like that.
Oh, okay.
Not with no entrance to the stadium, no.
Okay.
That was only for our parks.
Okay, so we would, do you
Definitely
feel
leave
like
that
we
out.
should strike the entrance to the Memorial
Absolutely.
Stadium? Okay.
And as far as the water tower, it's stated here that Matt wanted to check on the legality of it first, of the advertising. A special design put on the water tower. He stated he is checking on the legality of advertising.
I just thought that, the information that I provided just clarified it a little bit better.
And we're going to remove the one thing that you just mentioned, the one section.
Yes.
From your motion.
Yes, sir.
The entire thing?
About the new entrance to Memorial Stadium.
The entire thing?
We're just taking out the entire last section from the email, the last paragraph, which is part of it.
I think we should keep in where it should be spelled out, the Milton Union School Board and Union Township trustees, working to raise funds for the new park area at the old middle school and elementary school.
Yes, we did discuss that.
Yeah.
Why don't you read how you want it to?
Okay. Finally, in the general discussion area, I feel the various groups should be spelled out, Milton Union School Board and Union Township trustees, and also revised to state we are working as a group to raise funds for new park area at the old middle school, elementary area, splash pad / skate ramp, to clarify. So the other part where building a new entrance to Memorial Stadium would be the only thing that would be striked out of there. And that would be it.
And that's what we're not including.
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Any other clarifications to the proposed amendment?
No, sir.
Any other questions by council? Sorry.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Abstain.
Tinnerman?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
This is for
This is
The
for
last
adding
amendment.
Adding those.
new amendment. Yes.
Willis?
No.
And Mayor Cope?
Yes. Motion's been passed. At this time, we'll
We need to adopt the minutes
adopt the minutes as they are written with the amendment.
with the amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No more? Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Abstain.
Tinnerman?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Willis?
Yes.
And Mayor Cope?
Yes, the minutes have been adopted as written and amended. At this time, council has some correspondence to address.
Yes, Mayor, just one piece, it should have been in your council packets on Friday. It's an invitation to both mayor and city council to an annual event. It's the Miami County Law Enforcement Memorial Service, which is being held May 1st at the Courthouse Plaza in Troy at noon. It's an annual event. In fact, I believe every community I've ever been involved with has a law enforcement memorial about this time of year. Sometimes they call it a blue mass, etc. So if you, I was actually at last year's event. It's done very well in all participants of Miami County. That's all.
Thank you. At this time, Scott mentioned the, PJ Works, the
Right.
fall flame.
For the times.
application for the times. Could we do that right now? Because it's somewhat correspondence by PJ. Chuck, do we need to make a motion to?
Didn't we,
A motion was made at the last meeting
to set the time
to set the time, and the time was set.
at 11 o'clock?
Yes.
4 to
If
11.
there was further clarification at the workshop to change it to ticket sales stop at 11 o'clock, but the ticket redemption goes until midnight.
I don't have any argument with making a motion to do that. We're not changing the time of the liquor sales.
No, we're just changing the time for the redemption of the tickets, so that way, because you buy the ticket in one spot, then you redeem it in the other, so that way, there's just the clarification that it stops there, but you can still redeem it up till midnight.
There's kind of a vague area because you buy a
Right.
ticket and can later cash
Exactly.
in that ticket.
Yeah,
So
so-
what constitutes the
I'll remember
sale
that
of
when I attend the
change?
function.
So that way, it figures out what constitutes the end of the sale and then the end of the redemption period, even if they go on past midnight, the alcohol stops at midnight.
You have sales and serving,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
you
you can-
clarify
You
that.
can make that motion, and clarify that. I think it should be made by motion, yes.
We discussed it first. I mean,
Yes.
did we agree on sales ending at 11 and serving ending at 12?
Well, technically,
4 to
nothing was ever agreed to at the
Well,
workshop. It
okay,
was
I'm sorry.
discussed.
Is that the
I used wrong
consensus?
word.
That was our
We
consensus of
discussed.
discussion.
Since it was 4 to 11.
Should I make a motion when we
Sales.
discuss it? Or should we go ahead?
I think you should make a motion so everybody understands what's on the table.
Make a motion to have the beer ticket sales go from 4 PM to 11 PM with the redemption period from 4 PM to midnight for the fall flame.
I'll second
Yep.
Very good. No problem.
Nope.
No, does council have any discussion to add to this motion?
Sounds good.
Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Tinnerman?
that. Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Willis?
Yes.
And Mayor Cope?
Yes. The motion has been adopted. I'd like to, at this time, welcome comments from citizens regarding tonight's legislation that we are going to be looking at. Thank you. We have two resolutions before us. The first one is CM-1304. And Mr. Sells, please read the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Resolution CM-13-04. A resolution authorizing the municipal manager to hire Sharp Conway Architects of Dayton, Ohio. Whereas it is the desire of council to improve the facility and working conditions of the West Milton Police Division, and whereas to accomplish this goal, it is understood that professional assistance would be necessary, and whereas it is understood that this work should include a universal view the entire city hall and how the municipality can improve our ability to deliver customer-focused, efficient services. And whereas after reviewing the credentials of several professional firms, it has been determined that Sharp Conway Architects of Dayton, Ohio could best work with us in developing our vision to improve future services. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the municipal manager is hereby authorized to execute the proper contracts to hire Sharp Conway Architects of Dayton, Ohio, in the amount of $12,800.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
A second.
So moved.
I'll second.
So moved.
You
Okay.
made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Does council have any discussion to add to this resolution? Before we- Okay. Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Tinnerman?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Willis?
Yes.
And Mayor Cope.
Yes. The resolution has been adopted to hire Sharp Conway Architects. Thank you. Our next resolution is CM-13-05. Mr. Sells?
Mr. Mayor, Resolution CM-13-05, a resolution in support of the Milton Union Exempted Village School District tax levy renewal. Whereas the Milton Union Exempted Village School District is proposing a renewal of an existing levy for the day-to-day operations, and whereas the district has earned an excellent rating on the Ohio Department of Education report card, and whereas the district has been recognized nationally for the highest achievements at the lowest costs, and whereas council recognizes the importance of a high-quality educational system as a main ingredient for achieving and maintaining an outstanding and healthy community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the Council of the Municipality of West Milton supports the passage of the Milton Union Exempted Village School District's tax levy renewal on the ballot this May. Section 2, the Council of the Municipality of West Milton urges all citizens to vote for the school levy to demonstrate commitment to strong schools and a strong community.
Thank you. Council having discussion they'd like to add to this resolution? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Francis?
Make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Oh, did I not do? Oh, I did not do the motion.
I'll second.
Mine went blank. I'm sorry. I'll entertain a motion to adopt this resolution. Thank you.
Second.
Oops. Just no discussion. Okay. Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Tinnerman?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Willis?
Yes.
And Mayor Cope.
Yes. The resolution's been adopted to support the school tax levy. At this time, we'll turn our attention to our manager, Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, audience members. Since we've just passed the resolution in support, Ginny Rammel stopped by yesterday and offered yard signs for any council member who would like to snatch one up at the end of council, so I brought them in so you would not forget. I only have a few items, but first I would like to give the floor to Ben, our street superintendent. He has a few items that he would like to discuss as well.
On our day-to-day operations and maintenance, rarely do I like to bring day-to-day operations to council, but we've achieved a couple monumental tasks, and I talked to Manager Klein, and he said by all means that it's something that our council and community should hear about. One we have been talking about for a couple years now. In December 2007, Department of Transportation nationally and the Federal Highway Administration issued new regulations on signage. Basically, those regulations were for retroreflectivity. Layman's terms, everybody can see a stop sign in the daytime, but at night, maybe not so much. they gave us until 2012, the end of 2012, to meet the new requirements. Following the manual of uniform traffic control devices, we try to follow that to the letter for legal reasons. We have done that. So to meet our deadline, we had to really scramble. And if you drive around town, you can understand that regulatory signs, warning signs, and includes signs that are in our stock that we might use for construction sites. Every one of these signs is logged into our Mastermind sign program. We can tell you exactly where it's at. We can tell you how high it is, how far from the curb it is, and the reflectivity requirements that it's met. I am pleased to report Bob Adams, who is one of our maintenance workers. I like to give all my guys certain tasks to oversee and report back to me, and I have quite a good staff that's very good at doing that. Bob has worked with me and overseen the sign program and kept our inventory, which is enormous. And I'm proud to say that at the end of this, or the beginning of this week, we finalized this program. So we are now up to 100% standard on our retroreflectivity guidelines. We are no longer using what's considered an engineer grade sign. We can use a high intensity prismatic or a diamond grade 3. What that means to you as a council and the community, the diamond grade 3 is about twice as much as a high intensity prismatic, and the HIP sheeting lasts just as long. So I chose to go with the HIP sheeting, and it saved us a lot of money in the long run. And next, we will be tackling the non-regulatory signs, which would be your street name signs, informational signs, anything other than a regulatory or warning sign. We have until 2018 to have that completed. As of today, we are probably between 15 and 20% done with that. I'm getting ready to do another sign order, thanks to Bob Adams, who's given me all the information of what he needs to get the job done, obviously with help from other crew members. But like I said, it was a monumental task, and I'm pretty proud of our staff for getting this done. The only thing that's left out from this is our state routes, which would be Miami, Hayes, and East Tip Pike. The Ohio Department of Transportation oversees all of that signage. I do report to them if we have damaged signs or if I see a sign that just, quite frankly, needs replaced. But it is up to them to oversee their signs, and I try not to badger them too much. But if we do have signs that are really, in need of replacement, I do make that contact. So that's just kind of a shout out to the guys for doing it, because it was a large task. Second of all, back in 2002, the city made a very important purchase. We did buy our own street sweeper. It's a Timco street sweeper, and just briefly, it's not the big roller type that just kind of scoops up the debris and throws it into a hopper. It's actually, for lack of better terms, a large vacuum. In other words, it not only collects debris, but it collects the dust, and it's self-contained. The machine itself costs a little bit more, and the maintenance is a lot more labor intensive. Back in 2002, when we bought the machine, I had the option of sending my head maintenance man, which is our maintenance worker 3, Dusty Levy, to Waco, Texas for a 2-day, very labor intensive program on how to service and maintain the sweeper. Me and Dusty talked for off and on for a week or so, and I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "I think I can handle it on my own." Well, he was right. To date, we've pretty much totally refurbished the machine under Dusty's leadership. There's so many parts to this thing, it's incredible. And the problem with the regenerative air sweeper is even if you empty it out and wash it out and leave the bed up, you still have condensation inside. So not only did he upkeep the machine, but over the last 2 weeks, he totally reinforced our box. So instead of buying a $10,000 box, he actually made this one last for at least another few years, which what that means for us is we might replace the box once instead of twice, and that box will be good when we're ready to let the machine go. And to put it into a figures calculation, just rough math, we've saved over $20,000 in-house by doing this ourselves. So that's something that I thought was extremely important to tell you guys, that we are making every effort possible to save every dime that we can, because we understand how hard it is to come up with funding these days. And lastly, in case you hadn't noticed, we're a little bit behind on our spring projects, our sweeping, our banners, our tidiness. One reason for this was a long winter. The same equipment that cleans up the town is the same equipment that we get rid of the snow. So we're now shifting from winter to spring operations, and two, our street sweeper, actually Dusty just completed fixing the water system today, so it should be ready to go. And our other issue was, and not to the fault of Vectren or Miller Pipeline, but as they've been digging exploratory holes and finding where they can bore and where they can't, they've been finding storm sewers that I had no idea we had in town. For example, today we found one that had a 5-junction, basically 5 pipes coming into one general area. To fix this is not just an hour or 2 project. It's going to take, the crews all day tomorrow to get all this patched back together. But as soon as we get caught up with this, we'll get on our spring in-house cleaning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Just a couple other items, Council, just a few updates. The paperwork's been processed for the PVP building, and unless something unforeseen occurs, we should see activity beginning the week of April 16th. Also, a little update on the Safe Routes to Schools grant. Had a meeting this week with officials from ODOT up in Sydney. They gave us a worst-case calendar of being able to have the project under contract by no later than March 24th of 2014. However, I can say with a lot of confidence that the administrators of ODOT, or the bosses, had 1 on the phone and 2 at the meeting. We're very, very insistent on trying to push that up and shave off a lot more time. There are some things they feel can be shaved off as long as everything works, but they only deal in worst-case scenarios as engineers. So I would anticipate that we actually will see the project be sold earlier than that if it all goes according to plan. Speaking of spring cleanup, there's 2 things I'd like to discuss. Over the next week or so, I'll be working with Chuck about the Village West Milton has an exterior maintenance code, meaning both residential and professional, or residential and business professional commercial buildings need to maintain a certain appearance or maintain a level of appearance for the community standards. I don't want to speak for Chuck, but we feel a little bit that it's a cumbersome ordinance. However, I would rather try to enforce that ordinance the proper way. If it becomes too cumbersome, we'll bring it up at a workshop to discuss how we might be able to lessen the burdens. But a lot of it has to be documented, and there'll be letters coming out of our office or from my office, and Chuck will be helping me draft that wording properly. So we'll be using that ordinance which probably hasn't been used or utilized in quite a while. And then finally, also in speaking of cleanup, I'd like to discuss just briefly tonight, and to put it on as a topic on the agenda for this month's workshop, and that is our garbage service here in town. I know it's the strong desire of council to have the town cleaned up. Obviously, the high school honors students, the mock council, they passed a resolution as well. So it's multi-generational in its desire. And I have taken the last couple months to quietly observe, I shouldn't say quietly, I've been very active about it, but I believe one of the weaknesses we might have in our contract with Waste Management is that currently Waste Management does all the billing. And if a resident does not pay their bill, then obviously they do not get their garbage picked up. Well, that happens after a couple of weeks, and then I get a call about it or a complaint. I always verify the complaint, and then a letter comes out, or as our ordinance requires me on any nuisance, I send out a letter and have to give them at least 7 days to comply. If they do not comply, our ordinance requires me to send out a second letter. I follow up that second letter. Again, I have to give them at least 7 days. And then finally, we can take action by getting the garbage cleaned up ourselves. What I've just described to you has happened several times, but now you're talking about 4, 5, 6 weeks of garbage that has accumulated. So it becomes quite a nuisance by the time that I have followed the procedures that are outlined for me. I'd like to sit down with representatives from Waste Management, which I'll be doing tomorrow morning, to discuss better ways of being able to see that everybody in town has garbage service, and possibly for us to consider taking over the billing of that. That way, there's no excuse for anybody to not take their garbage to the curb. And it's not so much that they don't have a container. I have seen several homes with Waste Management containers in their backyard with the garbage pile around it. So the containers aren't an issue. I think it's just there might be this billing issue. And spoke with our vice mayor about this on a phone call, and he brings up a great point in that we would do monthly billing, where I just received my Waste Management bill, and it's a quarterly billing, and it's something that you don't think about because you don't get it on a monthly basis, and it can become quite large. So maybe if it's done on a monthly, it's a lower bill, it should help our residents, so I would hope. So I'm going to talk to Chuck, obviously, and work out some details, but I'll be meeting with Waste Management, and I was hoping that we could discuss this at our workshop. I'll have more information, obviously, by the end of April as well. And finally, it's my pleasure, it was my honor last meeting to announce a new business in town called Miami Lanes. And tonight, it's my honor to introduce the owner of Miami Lanes, Adam Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Klein, and members of council. First off, I would just like to say everyone has just been so tremendous in welcoming me to your community. I know I'm an outsider. I'm from Miamisburg, actually, but this town definitely is almost a mirror of Miamisburg in a way. You know, it's a typical Ohio small town, and the people here have just been absolutely wonderful. I've had a lot of people stop by, introducing themselves, former employees, and like Scott in particular, people who grew up there, you know, people that was a part of their history. And even though I don't have a history with the place, I have a connection to it, just through my past with bowling and family-oriented activities. So yeah, when I decided to take a chance on the place and I looked at it, I realized, you know, this place just needed somebody to come along and care for it. You know, I had heard that other people have tried, and I'm not sure what they did or didn't do to make it happen. And I've tried not to let that, you know, cloud my thoughts on it, you know, because I'm giving it my best shot, and I've got people backing us up, and like you all talked about before, the fundraiser that I started. You know, I knew it was a win or lose. You know, I figured it's hard times. If anybody can just give a little, every little bit helps. The expenses do mount up quickly. And we did manage to raise about $1,375, which definitely helps. And I plan on actually starting a second fundraiser. I may not run it as long as the first one, but like some people said, maybe some people found out about it a little too late in the game, because before the last meeting when Mr. Klein made the announcement, the Facebook page only had about 20 likes on it, and then now we're up to over 400. And it's, like I said, the support has just been incredible, people coming out. And one thing I wanted to do also is invite everyone that would like to come and take a look in person. I'm directly after this meeting, I'm going to go straight there, open the front door. I'll be there, an hour or so, however long anybody would like to come and actually take a look in person, because I know it has some memories for people. And one thing that I've noticed is most people that do come and look at it, they go, well, this place doesn't look as bad as I thought. A lot of stories were swirling around. I even heard one, somebody said, so there's no trees growing in there? Apparently people thought the roof had just caved in and the wildlife took over, but no, it's not that bad. But it is a lot of work, and I set myself a timetable. Hopefully we're still going to be able to have it up and running, at least for the bowling part, on June 1st. There may be a lane or two that's not quite ready, I don't want to, push anything if something's not ready. But yeah, we're really excited. I actually hired a gentleman who was a former mechanic there and a former manager, Jeff Flint. I don't know if any of you recognize his name or remember him, but he actually looked into buying the place at one time. And it's funny, we've already had the discussion that he may end up owning it eventually, because, he's really putting his heart into it. And he said, down the road, if you ever do think about selling it, I'd be the first one in line. So, yeah, we've got a lot of people putting their hearts into this, and I can't wait. I know it's a great thing for the community. And like I said, even though I'm not from West Milton, everyone's made me definitely feel at home here. So,
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ellison.
Thank you.
Welcome to the community. Yes.
I just got a question. Going through town, I noticed that the front face of the building next to the brick house has totally been removed and it's all open there. All the glass is gone and so forth. Are they already starting to tear that building down, or?
There's some pre-work that needed to be done before the contractor came in. I've really never clarified that the contractor is only doing work for us at the PVP. The owner of that building, we introduced him to the contractor, and they've arranged their own deal.
Oh.
He has confirmed with me, he was at the pre-construction or pre-demolition meeting, that building is coming down simultaneously.
Okay.
So
All right.
they must be doing the prep work
Yeah,
now.
because it's totally open now. You could just totally walk all the way through. You can see inside.
Oh, really? Wow.
Ceiling and so forth. So.
Well, it won't take much then to knock the rest of it
No,
down.
it sure won't.
They're allowed to do that. The reason people need to understand is there's certain regulations in government for government funds to take down a building. There was an EPA permit that had to be submitted, and once that permit was submitted, the EPA requires at least 10 business days until action can be taken. And I got a confirming email today that EPA has confirmed, and unless something comes up, April 16th is their start date. So.
Mr. Ashley?
Didn't get a chance to comment there about the trash we were talking about. I want to thank you for working so hard. Said a couple of words before the meeting, but I really appreciate, and the community is very lucky to have you to try to get this town cleaned up, because we've had a real serious mess. I just wanted to say you've done a great deal since you've came here, and you notice it on 48. There's a few of them already. It's been cleaned up, so.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say that. I know you've been working real hard, so.
Thank you. We have a great staff, and there's a lot more to do. And again, welcome Miami Lanes, and he'll be open after the meeting if anyone wants to bowl around. Or no, maybe.
You do have some lanes that are already in operation. If anybody wants to go.
Well, that's awesome. If there was 20 likes, and then after our announcement last meeting, there's 400 likes, that has to say something about people actually watching our council meetings. So that's awesome.
I'd like to ask him something about the little alley there. Years ago, when it was going, yeah, they had a little banquet room in there that you could rent. Is that something else you may be working on too?
My initial plan was to have a video game arcade. I've kind of thought about making it a multi-use room to where I could kind of move things around, maybe have it to where part of it would be games and part of it like a dinner type room or a party room. So
Yeah, we've had like birthday parties, I've been there many times.
yeah,
And that little room, the one room that was used a lot for
I think
that.
the last thing it was the lounge. I've heard quite a few stories from people that have visited. Some people said it was pool tables. I think even at one time there were tanning beds there. And I said that's a little odd for a bowling alley.
And I've just, said, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Does council have any old business they would like to discuss this evening? I welcome any new business. Oh, hold on. Last but not least, do we have comments from citizens this evening? Mr. DePoe.
I'm Doug Defoe, and I live over on Wright Road, and we're hearing a lot of different situations about what's going to take place across from us where the old elementary school is. And talking to neighbors and just listening to neighbors, some of our thoughts, even concerns of what's taking place there and what's not going to take place there. And we hope that council will really look at that from a lot of different perspectives, because I think there can be some positive things, but I also think there can be some negative things when we start looking at the age of the neighborhood and things like that. So we hope that that's something that is going to be done in the future, and maybe even talk to some of the neighbors on their thoughts and suggestions too, because we want to keep the neighborhood nice, but we also want the neighborhood to have the, you know, the access of the community too. So I'm just bringing that to the council's attention, and hope that you look at the total picture of it, because it could be bad or it could be good. So thank you very much.
When it comes time for this to take place, some of the planning, we should have, we'll try to get with the people here in the community, let them know. If they to come in here and let us all know what some of the concerns could be, if there is any concerns where the park and what area they're going to put dog runs or skateboard ramps, whatever you come up with, splash pad. Because the people live here is super important. I mean, that's why we're here. So when it comes time.
And I can give you an example. And you know, you don't want to start saying this is good or bad, but we know of a skateboard ramp in some friends of ours that was close to them, and they had to close it down because people couldn't open their windows because of the language and some of the situations that were happening, skateboarding late at night, things like that. And again, looking at the age of the community and asking questions. And you know, I'm not saying that it's not the thing to do, but I think that's something to at least consider. What is the purpose of the park? Who are we trying to bring into the park and things like that? So those are just thoughts that are going through my head, and I hope that, you know, you do that we do have the opportunity. And
You will. Our meetings are the third Wednesday of every month for the park board. And you guys, the citizens are more than welcome to come and express their opinions to the board.
You might be encouraged to know that one of our park board members is actually one of your neighbors. What's the gentleman's name?
Alan Brown.
Alan
Brown. Do you know Alan?
He
He's on our
lives-
park board.
no, I'm not sure I do.
I don't remember the name of the road. Back around, closer to where the middle school would have been on one of the
Okay.
cul-de-sacs
Oh, yeah.
back
Okay,
there.
yeah. Back there.
One thing I just want to mention to you that, I guess to clarify, you know, the different things that have been talked about using or being put onto that property have just been any kind of idea that anybody brings up. As Susan said, they're having meetings for the park board. There are council members on that and community members on that. And we're a long, long way, I shouldn't say long, long way, but we are far from breaking ground on anything. That's what they're looking at, is
And I
taking
understand,
ideas and
yeah.
suggestions, and yeah, it's not going to show up tomorrow.
Right, and I understand
Without,
that.
yeah.
But I see already on information that it's coming out of the school that they're naming some of the things that are going to be there.
Again, I think it's just some of the things that have been talked about, some of the ideas, some of the ones that the high school mock council came up with were also basketball courts or dog park or many different things. So, but yeah, I understand your concern of living right there with it.
Right. And that's why we're here, why I'm here tonight. So.
Well, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Just
Thank you.
clarification, Susan, could you tell, you said it's the third Wednesday of every month, but what time and where?
Well, for next week's meeting, we're doing a tour. The whole board's going to meet here at 6:30, and we're going to do a tour of all our community properties, parks and stuff, and then come back here and have a discussion. We'll probably get back here 7:15, 7:30, Ben? But normally they start at 7 p.m. The third Wednesday.
Third
Yes.
Wednesday, yeah. Everyone, it's a public meeting. Next week's meeting might be a little more difficult to attend because they actually will meet here and then take a tour and then come back. So and what you have to understand is the park board hasn't met since 2009. So this is a brand-new park board. So we organized at the last meeting, selected a chairman and a vice chairman, et cetera. So it was just to get organized. This month is to introduce them to the properties that the village actually own or will control. And then we'll go into planning in May and June, and it'll go from there.
Any other comments from citizens? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move a council recess for an executive session pursuant to section 12.12, subsection B5K of the West Milton Charter for the purpose of discussing the appointment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or demotion of a public official.
Thank you.
I second that.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. At this time, no further action will be taken this evening for council, so we'll do our executive session. We'll be back at some point to adjourn from our regular meeting. So please don't feel the need to stick around, so no further action. So thank you.